guys, welcome to another episode of The Brass Marksman. Steve here. I wanted to cover basic safety tips today. I feel like it's the most important aspect of shooting, and you can't get it done without being safe. So what we want to cover are essentially the four basic safety rules for any shooting endeavor. Number one, and probably the most important, is never ever point the gun at anything you don't intend to destroy. So that goes into flagging, that goes into muzzling, whatever you want to call it. That's just never a good thing. You always want to be conscious of where your weapon is pointed at all times. It doesn't matter if it's coming out of a holster. It doesn't matter if you've been shooting for the last 5 minutes. You always want to make sure that your muzzle is pointed downrange and in a safe direction at all times. That goes right into rule number 2. Keeping your finger off the trigger until you've identified your target and made the decision to shoot. So a lot of times when people are done shooting, they'll put their finger alongside the slide or put it on the trigger guard. They think they're being safe. That is still a little too close for comfort. What we want to do is to keep our finger away from the trigger as much as possible, unless we are aimed at target, downrange, and are ready to actually throw lead onto our target. It's just all about safety, guys. And I know this is covered in thousands of other videos, and if you've been shooting for a while, you've heard it millions of times. I know it's not the most exciting topic, but it is probably the most important. So that's why I wanted to cover all this. Number 3, make sure that you know what is beyond your target, your backstop, and what's beyond that. The bullet, just because it hits the target, doesn't mean that it stopped moving. There is usually 9 times out of 10 the berm beyond the paper, and then whatever's behind that. It may be a woods, it may be the side of a mountain, depending on where you're located. But if you're shooting and your bullet goes through the target or ricochets off of something, where is that going to go? It's going to go, it could go any direction that it wants to. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So we want to know and be sure of what's past whatever we're shooting at. Because essentially you're responsible for each round you shoot until it stops moving. So if it goes past your target, misses your backstop, or ricochets off in a direction, where's that round going to go? Is it going to land out in a field somewhere? Is it going to go into a tree? Is it going to go through the side of a house and hit somebody or through a window and hurt somebody? These are the things we have to always consider and be cognizant of when we're shooting. And number 4, guys, is always be cognizant of the condition of your weapon. Always know if there's rounds in it, if it's loaded, if it's unloaded, if the safety's on, all of that stuff. You always want to kind of pay attention to that from the time you start shooting to the time you're done. You may set the gun down and take a break. You may clear it out to go do something, have lunch, come back. You always want to kind of be aware of where you left your gun in the position it is the last time you shot, if that makes sense. If I'm shooting and I decide I'm done with that revolution, I'm going to immediately put the weapon on safe. I'm going to check, make sure that the magazine is out, that there's no round in the chamber, and I'm going to double check inside the chamber to make sure that the round that was in there last actually came out. Sometimes you get a broken extractor, or it just doesn't grab it, whatever the case may be, doesn't pull it out. You want to make sure that round is completely out of the barrel, and that the slide is locked to the rear, and then that the safety is on. So there is repetition, repetitiveness in being conscious of your safety. That doesn't only help you, but it helps everybody shooting around you. I've seen plenty of times where a person will get done shooting and they will turn their gun to the side to clear it out. Well, that's great. They're trying to be safe, but they're not actually being safe, because now their muzzle is pointed down to one side or the other, depending on what hand they shoot with, along a whole row of shooters. That's not safe. Doesn't matter if the gun's empty or not. If I see a gun pointed at me, I don't necessarily know what condition that weapon is in. I just see a gun pointed at me. I don't know the shooter. I don't know the condition of the weapon. Now I don't feel comfortable. And that's when accidents happen the most. So those are the 4 basic rules, guys. You stick by those, you remember them, you practice them, and I promise that it's going to greatly reduce the chance of injury or death, or just negligent discharges, or anything unsafe happening. Hopefully completely prevent them, but definitely mitigate. So those are the safety tips, guys. That was today's video. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.